Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to a review of Moon Knight here on Mac Talk Movies. My name is Max Denenberg. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, ring the bell. I do movie reviews, these type of TV show reviews, movie rankings, box office breakdown shows. So please subscribe, ring the bell. Like the video, guys, if you like talking Moon Knight and other things on this channel. And also comment down below, where does this show rank for you on the MCU Disney Plus shows? And what do you want to see next from Moon Knight? Do you want to see Moon Knight in a movie? Do you want to see Moon Knight season 2? Let me know in the comment section down below. Let's get started. So the 6-week journey that we've been on is over now as we get the season finale. The most shocking part is like logging on to Disney Plus, seeing that this episode of Moon Knight was far and away the shortest episode of the series. And you normally don't see it with any type of show, superhero or not. The fact that in the season finale is 42 minutes. Now that's with the previously on and the credits, so it's it's around really like 35 minutes without credits and the previously on. So it's a short episode, but it's supposed to wrap up the whole thing. So that actually kind of got me nervous, even though this has been a fabulous show. But let's talk about this episode. So I actually love this finale. This might be the most satisfying MCU show finale, even though I don't hate the WandaVision finale. I think the WandaVision finale was solid. I had a really good time with the Loki season finale, and What If as well. But I think this is the most satisfying of any Disney Plus series. Like I said, bias, because this is my favorite show that Marvel has done thus far for Disney Plus. The biggest reason why is it has great performances, really well written, and serious. Yes, a lot of people have been complaining about the Moon Knight not really being in the show in the full outfit, kicking butt. He certainly does that this episode, but there's a lot going on in this episode, so let's break it down. So Harrow unleashes Amit this episode, as we, of course, knew he was going to do based on what happened last week. All of the souls, Amit's released the crocodile, but Layla is trying to infiltrate this and try to help out the situation. So Taweret comes into the fray, where she's inside dead people, talking to Layla, talking about how Layla could be the next. They need a next avatar, and Layla can be that. So after Layla, and she tells her, go to where the gods are and release Khonshu. So Khonshu, and that's what Layla does. But Khonshu quickly wants Layla to be the next avatar because he does not sense Mark anymore. So at this point in the episode, Layla then denies Khonshu. Says, you made Mark's life a living hell, so I'm not signing up for that. But then she becomes Taweret's avatar because one of the gods told her that multiple avatars need to be in effect to stop Amit. So this then sets up Layla having her own kind of Oscar Isaac scene. She goes back and forth between Layla and Taweret. Really funny, but really well acted scene by Maya Calloway. Has been the most underrated part of the show. I love Layla as a character and then she gets a new kind of Wonder Woman like costume, but looks beautiful. The hair is amazing. The actual costume itself is great. So it's cool to see Layla get into the action. This then sets up the back action. Before that, Mark is in the happy heaven type situation at the end of the last episode, and he's like, I'm not just gonna leave Steven hanging like that. So he goes save Steven in a really emotional scene where he's like, the only superpower that's in me was you hiding me away from all these things. And it's a really great bond because, again, Oscar Isaac deserves a lot of nominations, if not wins, for this performance, hopefully at the Emmys this upcoming year. So because he makes, even though Mark and Steven are sharing the same body, and now obviously Jake Lockley at the end of this episode, the fact that he makes them feel like two completely different people sharing a body. And Oscar Isaac portrays that really beautifully in this show. So they go out, and how Steven and Mark can go in and out of each other at any time. They're not just like back and forth. They can do whatever they want. So they're basically like, Khonshu needs their help. And Steven's like, we'll help you, but you have to release us. We're kind of done doing this kind of stuff. So we have this great action set piece with Moon Knight going after Harrow, and then we get this Mr. Knight, which is probably my favorite action sequence in the show, where Mr. Knight just starts destroying people. He throws his ring, and then it's caught by Mark, turning into Moon Knight. The back and forth between Mr. Knight and Moon Knight was really fun to watch. but it's not looking good for the good guy. Actually, another great scene was when Layla's kind of helping out, and this little girl's like, "Are you an Egyptian superhero?" And she says yes. And a lot of people are going to think that's very cheesy, but it just shows the representation. We just don't see Egypt kind of shown off, Egyptian culture shown off in any other thing I've ever seen this authentically like this show, and having this young, again, inspiring, not just for women, but for Egyptian culture as well. Just a beautiful scene that I do think is worth noting. But the good guys are in deep trouble. And this is when, Mark's on the ground and it looks like Layla's done. And we snap out of it again, just like we did when Mark would switch to Steven or reversal, whatever it is. And clearly there's a third personality that's been obviously hinted at the last 2 weeks, which we know is Jake Lockley, if you know the comic books. And they're kind of out of it, and they go back to like the psych ward, and you're like, oh my God, was this whole show like in his head? It was not. We know that Harrow's kind of the more insane one. And then we end up back at Steven's apartment, and they're kind of doing around, they're back where they started now. And obviously Steven's saying that we want to save the world. We shall see what happens with the two of them. But one of my favorite post-credit scenes that Marvel has done is in this one, really well executed mid-credit scene, where Harrow's at the mental hospital, and this guy just only speaking Spanish with gloves is kind of rolling Harrow out of the psych. And then you can kind of see, it's basically, you see the hats, and it's Jake Lockley. If you know the comics, it's clearly Oscar Isaac again. He puts Harrow in the limo, and now Mr. Knight's suit with Khonshu in like human type form talking to Harrow and just welcome them. And when I released Mark and Steven, they had no idea how fractured they were. And then Jake Lockley turns up, only speaking Spanish, kills Harrow very well. Instead of being a cab driver and like a Brooklyn type accent, he's completely all Spanish for him this episode, which obviously is Oscar Isaac's Guatemalan background is an influence as well. And he's like a postal chauffeur with this really cool Rolls Royce. So really well executed, like a hit, like a gangster type kill. And that's where we end up with Moon Knight. I think they leave the door wide open for more story and a possible Mark and Steven versus Jake type situation would be fascinating to watch, as Mark and Steven are now on the same page, but as Mark, Steven, and even Layla don't even know what this third personality is. So we shall see where the show goes. It's not been announced for season 2. We currently have no idea from a fan point of view on when we'll see this character again, but this is my favorite Disney Plus Marvel show to date, and one of the best performances the MCU has had with Oscar Isaac in the lead role. So I love this show. I love joining you the last 6 weeks. We got a lot of videos coming down the line here on the channel. Tomorrow we're going to break down the spoiler breakdown of Ozark season 4 part 2. I can't wait to talk about spoilers of that show. Friday, you're going to get my non-spoiler review of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Monday, box office breakdown show and Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness spoiler review. So all these things coming. I'll see you guys.